Today I'm going to talk about the economic impact of pneumonia processes in pigs. Next, please. Already you know the main function of the respiratory system is to capture oxygen from the air and eliminate the CO2 created by the tissue catabolism. But in the pig, it's also responsible for the thermoregulation process. The animal eliminates excess heat through an evaporation system called thermal polypnea. In human, much of the excess heat is eliminated through the sweat glands, but it's not possible in pigs because pigs do not have a sweat gland. So we have a saying in Spain, you are sweating more than a pig, but it's not true because I said pigs do not have sweat glands. So an excess heat is known to cause reduced growth because there is a decrease in feed intake and then a lower economic performance. This is very normal in summertime, very common in countries as Spain, especially in the south of the country, but also in pneumonia processes because the respiratory function and the thermoregulatory capacity are altered. Next, please. One of the first studies, is a reference study on the topics, is the study published by Barbara Straub. Next, please. They studied the effect of the pneumonia on growth rate and efficiency of feed, collecting information from 27 studies in which the incidence of lung lesion and growth rate were collected. The incidence of lung lesion were mainly produced by Mycoplasma pneumonia and Actinobacillus pneumoniae. But from those 27 studies, they selected 5 in which the everyday gain was measured and the severity of lesion at slaughter were assessed by the percentage of lung with gross lesion. Next one, please. The conclusion of the study was that there was a decrease in the ADG of 37.4 grams for every 10% of lung area affected by pneumonia. Next one, please. In another study performed by Pagot and others in France, involving 7,000 pigs and from 14 different farms, next, please. Animals were individually weighed. The ADG of the fattening period was calculated, and lungs were examined at slaughterhouses. The system used for the scoring was proposed by Madec and Kovis, and it's a score system from 0 to 28 points. Each lobe, each lung lobe is scored between 0 and 4. 0 is no lesion, 1 is pneumonia lesion less than 5 square centimeters, it's more or less 1 2 euros coin. 2 is a larger lesion, but concerning less than a half of the lobe surface. 3 is a more extended lesion, but we have still remaining healthy tissue. And 4 is the lesion is small, the whole lobe. So the final score is the sum of the score of the 7 lobes. But in that study, they also measured the appearance of pleuritis. They scored the pleuritis as 0, no lesion, 1, fibrinous pleuritis, and 2, more extended pleuritis and fibrous type. They found in that study a negative correlation between the prevalence of lung lesion and growth. They found a reduction of 0.7 in ADG for each point of increase in lung lesion. He also found that the ADG was 3% lower in pigs with lung lesion with respect with those without lesion. The prevalence of pleuritis in that study was 10%, And in pigs with lung lesion and pleuritis at the same time, lung lesion one score of 4 or more, the ADG was 15% lower in those pigs with both lesion with the pig without pleuritis. Next, please. The economic impact of chronic pleurisy has been also studied by Sorensen. In one study, they found that an increase in the appearance of pleuritis of 16%, the cost is 10 cents of euro per pig. Next, please. Next, yes. One of the diseases that this topic has been most studied is enzootic pneumonia, caused by Mycoplasma pneumonia, since it's one of the processes that causes the most losses in the pig industry. Next, please. Vaccine studies have shown that in vaccinated pigs against Mycoplasma pneumonia present a decrease in the incidence of lung lesion and the incidence and severity, an improvement in the ADG and the feed conversion ratio. That means a clear economic benefit. Next, please. In one study conducted by Bringas et al. In Spain, next, please, involving more than 48,000 pigs not vaccinated against Mycoplasma pneumonia, they studied the incidence of lung lesion as a slaughterhouse, and they recorded the production data of those pigs. They grouped the batches of pigs with different incidence of lesion. They grouped in 4 categories. First one, incidence of lesion less than 55%. The second, incidence of lesion between 56 and 76%. The third, incidence of lesion between 77 to 88%, and then incidence of lesion more than 88%. Next, please. Comparing the group with the lowest incidence, less than 55%, with the group with the highest incidence, 88%, they found, next, a decrease in the ADG of 42 grams, an increase in the feed conversion ratio of 50 grams, one increase in 0.9 the mortality, and one increase in 0.84 in the cost of medication. Using the average production cost data in Spain for that year, we can calculate that the increase in the production cost in those animals was 2.7 euros per pig, to which we must add the cost of medication. Next one, please. In one study carried out by the World Research Group at the University of Cordoba, involving more than almost 200,000 pigs from the 221 farms from Spain and Portugal, we studied the incidence of Mycoplasma-like lesion at the slaughterhouses, and we scored the lesion with a system from 0 to 5. Next, please. This score system is based on that proposed by Boyo et al. It's a score system that can be easily adapted to the slaughterhouses with a fast slaughter chain, with more than 500 pigs per hour. In that system, 0 is no lesion, 1 is consolidation, affecting unilaterally the apex of 1 or 2 different lobes. Score 2 is consolidation, affecting bilaterally the apex of 1 or 2 different lobes. 3 is consolidation, affecting bilaterally the apex and medial part of 1 or 2 different lobes. 4 is consolidation, affecting bilaterally the apex and medial part of 1 or 2 different lobes, and partial involvement of the cranial area of 1 caudal lobe. And 5 is consolidation, affecting all lobes, including the cranial area of both caudal lobes. Next, please. In that study, we found an incidence of Mycoplasma-like lesion of the 31%, those lesions were scored from 1 to 5. We also found an incidence of APP-like lesion of 12.5% and an incidence of pleuritis of about 6%. Next, please. In part of the study that has not been published yet, we designed a model to calculate the increase in production costs according to the lung lesion score. First, we translated the score of lesion to percentage using the information from the paper of Christensen, and then with the information from the paper of Barbara Stroh and the average production cost in Spain for that year, we could calculate that, for example, with one score, with the score 1, there was a decrease in the ADG of 12 grams, an increase in the feed kilogram 2.5, an increase in the FCR of 0.03, and then one increase in the production cost of about €1 in round numbers. With the score 2, the increase in the production cost was around €2. With the score 3, 4. With the score 4, 8. And with the score 5 was about €16. So, next one, please. So, just to finish with the presentation, there's a couple of messages to take home. First, lung lesions have a marked effect on the pig's main production parameters. So, controlling respiratory pathogens such as Mycoplasma hair pneumonia is essential to minimize losses and improve the profitability of our farms.